At the beginning of our paragraph, we put a question mark because she states as a specific example when she did a home visit with an ELL family. We're just wondering how she connected this in her classroom. Throughout this article, she gives specific ways she does connect certain things in the classroom, but she never really addresses how she ties in the choreographed piñata party. Down here in the second paragraph, we've underlined this sentence because we thought it was a very important point. It shows a specific example of how she's using what she learned from her home visit to do a lesson inside the classroom. She used something that she saw to create a lesson about owning and managing a store to create a unit on math. Down here we come to our third paragraph, and in the first sentence we underlined it as an important point, and we also circled a word in it as a question. We thought this was an important point because it states how she was using what she learned in her home visits and then tying it into the curriculum. We circled the word color because typically the word color is either an action or a noun, and it has to do with vibrant colors or crayons. Here she's talking about how she's changing her curriculum. She uses the word color to describe what she's doing in her curriculum. We've discussed that we think it means that she's adding life to her curriculum. She's making it engaging and interactive for her ELL students through those connections that she's making. Down here we've also underlined, I made connections in class. This was the most important part of the article because she's saying how everything she's learned, she's tying it into her job as a teacher. She's making these connections in the classroom for these students. As I scroll down, we have another paragraph here, and it starts off with, the knowledge I gleaned also had an impact on the student. We've underlined this because this is important. This is the reason that she became a teacher, the reason that she's doing these home visits, is to have an impact on the students. Farther down, we've also underlined, she understood that her parents and I communicated. That's an important part in this article because it's part of the reason that she did the home visit. She wanted her students and her families to feel comfortable in the school and in her classroom. She wanted the students to know that her and her parents were a team and they talked together so that the child could be successful. Down here we've underlined where we have a connection. The arrow is pointing here to this sentence, they recognized me in the trailer park. I personally had a connection to this part because the school that I'm currently teaching in is next to a trailer park and it seems to have the same community as described in this article. It's a very close-knit community where everybody knows everyone lives in the trailer park together, and it's one big family. As a teacher in this area, I've interacted with the students and families in the trailer park. They've come to the school, but I've noticed that a lot of parents feel when they're at school they're kind of on your territory as a teacher. Sometimes they feel a little bit intimidated as well. So it's good to go over into where they feel is their territory, and they feel more comfortable because you're kind of on their ground, and it's a little bit more comfortable for them. So I put a connection point there because I felt like I could really relate to that, knowing that my school community is very similar to what is described. In this paragraph here, we've underlined and put an explanation point here. We put the explanation point here because it was kind of a surprising point. It says, fundamentally, I have redefined my conception of the term home visit. And we also had a connection here too because we were saying that home visit, we always thought it was the same thing as where you're teaching. You're going into this home to teach them about what school is going to be like and tell them all the information they need to be prepared. However, this was an interesting point because she is explaining how her conception of home visit is different now. She said that she used to think that you go in and you teach, but coming down here to this paragraph, she's saying now she goes to learn, which was a new concept for me and my partner. We agreed with her here that we thought it was to teach. That was what we had taught. We were trained during our first years of teaching that a home visit was to teach. So this was surprising that she's discovered it's so much more than that. We have highlighted this paragraph here, this last couple sentences, because it really ties together the whole purpose of the article. This first part says, now I go to learn, which is the most important thing that we've learned from this article. Home visits are not about teaching. Home visits are about learning, and you're asking open-ended questions to interact with the family. She says that she's done home activities about what the family likes to do for recreation. You're really there for the family. We've also underlined this last line, which kind of reiterates what we just said, that she's an active listener. She says, I'm a listener who returns to pick up the conversation from the last visit. So she's not in control in this situation. She's not going in to teach and lecture to the family. She's going to listen and learn from them.